October 3rd, 2010, at Debate Club working session. Was my message received correct? Ladies and gentlemen, good day. First of all, the very fact that you've come here today on Sunday to study English speech is amazing. I simply pay respect to you for investing in yourselves even on holidays. I try to speak my best not to betray your enthusiasm. Now, let me talk how difficult it is to convey your message correctly to your audience. Please remember, your message is not what you intend to say, nor what you have said. Rather, your message is what your audience have heard and interpreted. Let me repeat. Your message is what your audience have heard and interpreted. Now, here are some examples. First, the failure case. One day I was staying in a hotel in London with my American colleague Joe. When we walked down to the dining room, we found a long queue waiting for the breakfast tables. After a while, Joe apparently got irritated as he's got a morning appointment. Besides, he's not a British. So I said to him, "Hey Joe, we need to be patient, huh?" Then he looked at me and said, "What?" in a more irritated tone. To look back this tiny incident, my intended message was something like, "Take it easy, Joe. We are not in New York." But my words betrayed my good intention and sent a wrong message that, "Joe, be patient." Later I learned that "be patient" is a very common phrase used when parents scold a naughty child. So I should have said something like, quote, "They are really trying your nerve, aren't they?" unquote. Yes, I learned a big lesson from this small incident indeed. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let us move to a successful example. In 1970s, I was stationed in Beirut, Lebanon, as a representative of the prestigious bank in Japan. A huge financial transaction was being negotiated with the oil-rich Arab establishment. My counterpart was a Lebanese named Mushu Tamraz, who claimed he's an agent representing the royal family of the rich oil-producing country. He spoke Arabic, English, and French fluently. After several meetings of heated negotiations, he invited me and my boss to his house for dinner. His mansion was on a hill commanding the fantastic view of the Mediterranean Sea on one side, and on the other side was all bookshelves full of big books. The atmosphere was really imposing. He said with a cigar in his mouth that he's got passports from UK, US, Egypt, and Lebanon. He also said he studied at Harvard, Oxford, and Sorbonne in Paris. Well, everything sounded too good to be true. Yet I've got a couple of pending points to settle before beginning whining and dining. So I picked up courage and asked, "Sir, It's my job to clear the unsolved terms and conditions. In short, can you give some securities or guarantee to back up your financial proposal? To which he said, What? Then, why? These two words sounded as threatening and defying as recent remarks made by the government in our neighboring country over the issue of the patrol boat crash. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what should I say under this circumstance? Should I say, it's because your story is dubious? Or, because I can't trust you yet? Yes, that's an accurate expression of what's in my mind. But these words could be a deal breaker, as they are so direct and straightforward and leave no room to rephrase in case when my interpretation was wrong. So instead, I replied, quote, I want securities because everyone says anything can happen in this part of the world, unquote. Please note, ladies and gentlemen, firstly, I didn't say business practice here is not trustworthy. Instead, I said anything can happen here. Secondly, I didn't say it can happen in Saudi Arabia. Instead, I said, in this part of the world, in order to avoid mentioning any specific country. Thirdly, I didn't say, I believe anything can happen here. Instead, I hinted, it's not me, but it's anybody else who's doubtful about the business customs here. Now, let me repeat my statement. Quote, I want your guarantee because everyone says anything can happen in this part of the world, unquote. This was an expression of very indirect and sugar-coated way of conveying my dissatisfaction of his proposed terms and conditions, wasn't it? Or should I say it's a British-style roundabout expression, or very diplomatic solution, huh? Well, after the dinner, my boss told me that my remarks were too offensive and not polite. I replied, Yes, sir, but isn't it my job to solve the pending issues to our advantage? Then my boss didn't criticize me any more. Well, looking back now, it was a very crucial moment in the course of the long negotiation. If I had failed to convey my message in a correct yet friendly and not offensive manner, the deal could have been broken at that time. Ladies and gentlemen, lastly, I hope you'd understand the difficulty of conveying the proper nuance of your words, especially when they are in foreign languages. So please take care. Thank you for your attention.